the holistic health warrior himself.
Yeah, man, appreciate it, man. It's been a while. It's been a long time coming. Been doing it for a while, and I'm blessed to be able to, just have this be my full-time thing, man.
Let me go ahead and introduce the show. Y'all
Yeah.
know what's now into the Fear Chaser podcast, where we assist you in carving out that most beautiful version of yourself in your life by chipping away that ugly thing called fear.
Mm.
And today we got the holistic wealth health warrior himself, Jeezy, based in the plants. Man, just stay tuned. You in tune for a lot of game right here, man. A lot of things that are gonna benefit you physically, mentally, and spiritually. So enjoy.
All right, man. So what's going on? My name is Jeezy, or Gerald. And I started off in this game as a personal trainer, teaching exercise and teaching how to lose weight. But I guess I should rewind a little bit further. My health journey actually started in prison, where I went to prison for possession of a firearm, and doing a whole bunch of drugs, selling drugs in the streets. I guess you could say I was a lost youth. I was 18, selling crystal meth, addicted to crystal meth, and found myself in prison at such a young age. But I was really aware. So I got there and I started seeing things that were not like what we're taught, what we're told. When you listen to music and watch the movies, they tell you one thing about what it's going to be like in prison, and what I actually saw, what I was exposed to, just real men, real individuals who actually look out for you. And basically I had an awakening in there, and I ended up turning it into an opportunity where I was overweight and I was addicted to drugs, and I basically decided that I was going to use those 2 years to transform my health, and I started working out. And so by the time I got out of prison, I was a personal trainer helping people with their health. And then I went through the same kind of awakening with fitness, where I realized, like, holy shit, this is not what they told us it is. It's not like what it seems. I realized that even the fitness world, there was a lot that wasn't healthy about it, man, with the supplements and the just working out just to get as buff as you can and get in a beauty pageant, and win a trophy. And I got in the same way that, prison woke me up to the street life, and how, the street life, it's not something, because it's not something that it's not glorious, man. People that, you know, I was in the suburbs and I had well-to-do parents, and I chose to be in the streets because it looked good. I didn't have to. I didn't have to sell drugs. I wasn't up against a wall. So I realized that, I got lured in. And the same thing with fitness, where, this ain't actually real health, just working out until you hurt yourself. And so that's what kind of drove me to where we are now with this holistic health. And by holistic, I mean that you take a holistic approach, meaning we don't just look at the physical body. We understand that there's a mental aspect to health. We understand that there's a spiritual and energetic aspect to health. And now I help people, come to a real version of health, which really you could call is just a connection to yourself. Real health is being connected to your body. What does that have to do with it? It has to do with hydration, just like what you're doing right now. It has to do with being grounded. What does grounded mean? That has to do with your electrical connection to the earth. And once I started discovering this knowledge about our connection to nature, and how the more connected we get to nature, the healthier, the more vibrant we become, I started getting loud about it, because no one on the mainstream is really talking about, or was. Now we've gone through kind of an awakening where people are waking up, but the truth about health being connected to your body and connected to nature, and get outside and get fresh air and get some sunlight in your eyes. And man, there's just so much to this
It's
topic
deep,
that,
man. Yeah.
yeah, I can just go on for days about it. And it's a beautiful thing, man, because
Yeah.
as someone that talks about it, we can go on forever on it. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yeah.
Man, so look, you start off at a great point, man. That's one of my questions I have here for you is, what did prison teach you?
Mm.
Because I did go to prison myself. I did before that, I did a few stints just for county jail and whatnot. And me being in there, I know that a lot of people have that stereotype of what they think prison might be, or like it's just a lot of rape, a lot of fighting, which there is a lot of fighting. I didn't see any rape while I was in there. A lot of people with shanks and all these kind of things and stuff like that. Some of those things are real, you know, there's people that try to be the tank boss and whatnot. But the approach that helped me the most when I was in there is what I took from the movie Undisputed with Wesley Snipes. I don't know if you ever seen that.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
All right, okay. So in the movie, man, he was a famous boxer, and then you know, he committed a murder and he ended up getting locked up. And so, like I said, since he was a boxer, he wasn't really worried about having to protect himself or anything like that. For the most part, he spent a lot of time to himself being quiet and just being in his own world. And I adapted that when I went in. So I gravitated to a lot of the old heads or the cool cats, not necessarily the young guys who were full of a lot of zeal, a lot of anger and whatnot, and ready just to be around bunkers and whatnot. So I was in there playing chess. I had a lot of conversations about life. And those were the things that aided me in just changing my mindset, because I didn't want to go to jail. I wasn't on a crash course. I just was taking chances outside. Like you say, you grew up in a suburban life and whatnot. I had a little time with that, and yet I did come from the so-called ghetto. And being in those environments, you either end of the spectrum. What I've seen, the people that want to be in the streets, you still have to be smart. Even if you want to be in the business world, you still have to be smart. It's not about being just a gung-ho, shoot first, ask questions later type of person. So with that being said, I would say that coupled with what I was already learning on the outside, just being in that position where it was me by myself and still having to be able to maneuver in a room full of vultures and snakes, it saved me, man, because it tested a lot of the things that I was believing in at first and standing on, and also sharpening me up in a game of just like, no, man, you actually do have to be smart. You have to be observative before anything.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you?
Yeah, man. So what I learned and what I realized is that you know, you could look at prison. If you look around, if you're observant, you know, you realize that prison is like a slice of the outside world, in that you have your percentage of crackheads, you have your percentage of people that are doing drugs, you have your percentage of people that are super violent, but you have the mass majority of people who are just trying to do their time and get out, or just trying to get by. It's just, I realized that the same things going on in prison are going on the outside. This is another thing I learned. When I learned about how racism is used in prison, like it's used to control the population. Like in that, when you first get there, for me, the guards were the ones who told us what the get now was. Where, all right, you're in this group, you over there. Who do you run with? And I realized that the segregation is needed for control of the population, because if people were integrated, meaning if people would just kick it with every race, then it would be harder to control. So I observed that right off the bat, that racism is used on the people to keep the people controllable, you know, and then through the media, as we know, through the programming, it's seeded and it's pushed on us, you know, and I was able to observe that. And I also learned that in the same way, like in the real world, outside world, you get the experience you get is what you make of it. Meaning, prison could be the worst thing in the world for you, or it could be the most productive thing in the world for you. It's about your perception. It's about, what are you going to do with yourself? What are you going to do with your time? And the same thing's going on out in these streets, where some people look at it as a struggle. They have this fear-based mindset. So that's the experience they get, right? And for me, I think, and I have to chalk it back up to, man, I had some good family support. I had my parents held me down. My siblings, they were all writing me and supporting me. So my perspective was a little bit better than that. I had this perspective that I'm going to utilize this time to read, to learn, to work out. I didn't spend time just trying to, like, I guess if you're in that scarcity mindset, you're just trying to spend time trying to get yours, trying to get more, trying to come up. And that's how you get locked in that that lifestyle. Even in prison, you can get locked into just trying to get the next, we didn't have actual money, but you trying to get more food or more cigarettes.
Commissary, yeah.
Yeah, commissary.
Be in
And
jailhouse rich.
yeah, you can get lost in that hustle lifestyle, even in prison, and I focused on growth. I did hang out with many people. I mean, I'm 18, so I'm not really, everybody's older than me at that time. Everybody's an old head to me. But luckily I was surrounded by some real mature individuals who didn't just try to get something out of me. They really saw the good in me, and they put me up on game in a way that they made me not want to come back for them. What the notion I realized was that, I'm only doing 2 years in here. There's some people who don't have the opportunity to get out in 2 years or 10 years. They're doing 20 years. They're doing life. And so I'm getting this chance to get out. What I'm going to do, just come back? And like, what does that say about like these people who never are going to get the chance? That's kind of saying that you don't appreciate that they're trying to help you. And so because I had some cool OGs show me some, like, for example, man, they didn't let me get my gang tatted on me, man. It was the most meaningful. Now, as I look back, maybe at the time I was mad at them because I was getting my whole body tatted up. And then when I was getting ready to get my gang symbol on me, they stopped me. They had a little intervention with me. They told me, look, we don't care. Get your whole body tatted up, get it all covered up. But we're not letting you get your gang tat on you on our watch, man, because if you get that tattoo, you're going to be back here. And here's the thing. We don't want to see you again, man. We don't ever want to see you back in here, man. So, and then that just, it hit me. I was like, man, my own OGs was telling me to get the tattoo, man. They were telling me to do this, do that, so I can come out and represent. But these strangers who didn't know me in the streets were looking out for me, where they didn't want me to come back. And that stuck with me forever, man. It stuck with me forever, where I met some real men who really cared for me and really looked out for me. And now I feel like what I do now, where I educate, I got a lot of young people following me now, where I talk about the truth, where the whole idea of keeping you fighting your peers over where you're from, that's a control mechanism. That's to stay in control of us. And the last thing they want is men of fighting age uniting, because now we're harder to control, and educating about the truth about that stuff. That's now what I'm passionate about. So yeah, man, I learned a lot. And I could honestly confidently say I probably read like 100 books in those 2 years, so I was like a reading machine. So that also led to me, when I got out, I couldn't talk about the same things with my friends, man. I couldn't talk about the same things. I couldn't I can't get excited over the same things, because I feel like my mind matured like 10 years in the 2 years that I was in prison. So it was just definitely something that changed my trajectory, had me going in a different direction.
You went in there and really corrected yourself. You took the correctional facility to heart.
Yeah, man.
Man, you go live a lot, bro. And that's pretty much how I got introduced to you, just following your page, based in the plants. And what I really find intriguing about what you do when you go live is the fact that you're talking about the tools that actually transformed you. Because what I see a lot with the youth, even if you're growing up in the suburbs or in the hood, the ghetto, the slums, whatever, is that it's not necessarily if your parents have everything or if your parents don't have everything. It's kind of the music, it's the way that we were taught, the systematic, the the design of the system to educate our kids, to educate us as we grow up. And it's just, man, I'm pretty sure you heard it so much now that it sounds cliche, but you're going to public schools to become a cog in the system, not necessarily be someone that is going to be self-sufficient. And the tools that you've tapped into, man, these are things that I've found on my journey, and a lot of people that I've just studied that have transformed their lives through these, from being a hard-headed person to someone that is actually listening to themselves and being revering of the spiritual nature that we have as human beings, is something that I would say that even if you act out, you're just acting out. You're raging against the system, for lack of better words, because you feel it intuitively that no, this is something that it's not meant for me. I'm meant for something greater, and I can't really fully express myself. Like as men, we can't really well, growing up, we weren't taught to really express our creativity, our feminine side. And man, that is very vital. One, for the Godhead, you need both. You need your masculine and feminine. And yet, if you're not having a creative outlet, you're really constipating yourself, so to say, spiritually. And watching your lives, man, I caught one when you're talking about the hermetic principles, man.
Yeah.
How did that help you in changing your trajectory?
Yo, man, that's the Bible right there, because the hermetic principles, man, I'm so passionate about them, because when you go into them, you realize that they're happening whether you know about them or not. They're happening in your mind. They're happening when you look outside with the seasons, when you look out into the ocean. The hermetic principles are playing themselves out. They're gleaned from just observing nature. Things like the law of rhythm, the law of mentalism. When you learn them, it's not like you're learning anything new. You're learning what's already going on in your mind. You're learning. And so when you learn those things, you're learning about yourself. And when I started reading about them and then observing them in my psyche, or observing them in the way that I go about trying to do things. Like, for example, like the law of rhythm dictates that the swing to the right is matched by the swing to the left. So when you try to force yourself to do something, and all you're trying to do is force, you're trying to swing that pendulum this way, you end up getting hit by a lack of motivation. Or, for example, if you're drinking and you try to all of a sudden just try to go sober at once, that's forcing yourself to do something that's outside of your current nature. You're going to get hit with the swing back, which means you're going to get hit with binging again. And these things have already been happening. I've been going through that with fitness, and I didn't realize that it's actually just a law of nature. Like the tide goes out, the tide comes back in. Another law is the law of gender, where everything has a masculine and feminine. Everything has a light side and a shadow side. As long as you try to push away your shadow side, you're not integrating, meaning you're not accepting both sides of yourself. So those bad habits that you have, the things that you don't like about yourself, you need to learn to accept them, or what we call our shadow side. We need to learn to become friends with our shadow side. That's the only way we're going to rise above and move on from it. And we can go down the list of things. It's like, all right, we could talk about porn. We could talk about smoking. We could talk about drinking. Like, before you're able to get over these things, you got to be able to, just love yourself anyways. Even though you're doing all these things, you got to be able to accept it, because trying to fight those things are literally fighting yourself, and it's only going to lead to more trouble and trauma. And so, man, the hermetic principles, in terms of content, I could go live every day forever and just talk about the principles and just keep going on about different aspects of them, because each principle, you could talk about the physical nature of it, you could talk about the mental nature of it, and then you could talk about the energetic or spiritual nature of it. So if anybody hasn't learned about the hermetic principles, the book is called The Kabbalion. Kabalion, the Kabbalion, and it's a short book. It just goes over the principles in detail, and it's a great way to arm yourself for personal growth, man. And yeah, like another principle is as above, so below. That's a popular one. That's the law of correspondence. As above, so below dictates that things that are happening above the surface are also happening below the surface. And so you tired of your acne, you tired of your skin, you got pimples. It's like you got to check what's going on with your blood and with your diet. Because if you just trying to fix your acne by putting on cream and wash your face, there's something going on below the skin that's affecting what's going on above the skin. And that's going on all planes, all levels, man. So yeah, super passionate about the Hermetic principles, man.
And you know what? I see that, man. You can see that all around in just in our society these days, that people are doing external work in the means to the happiness or the peace that they're looking for, when it's all starting with spiritual. Like you say, it's as above, so below. So it starts with the spirit first. So if you go within your spirit and clean that up, then like I'm doing now, I've taken a sacrifice from smoking weed. And man,
hey, we on the same thing, man. We on the same thing, man.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that, man.
Yeah.
And right now, man, it's something that I truly do have a reverence for. And yet, like they say, you in the Bible, the guy had to sacrifice his kid. He put his kid on the block in order to prove his love for God or whatever. That was metaphorical, and yet in the same space, to prove the love that I truly have for my spirit, I have to give up something that I really do have a passion for. And on the other side of that, the pendulum swing of that, man, I've been able to open up my energy has picked up. I feel like I'm getting out the shower and I'm you know what I'm saying, putting coconut oil on me, and I'm just like, man, I'm feeling like my senses more. I'm feeling more smooth. I'm tasting the food better and all the kind of stuff like that, dude. And it's a mind fuck, to be honest with you, because you think when you're high and all the kind of stuff like that, like you really feel like you feel like you're on top when you get in that bag like that, and you feel like you can get lost in the sauce and thinking that this is the Scottie Pippen to my happiness. And yet, man, bro, you gotta, once you tap into that bag of what that you have, that is endless, that infinite abundance of your spirit, dude, it feels magical. That's how I'm feeling right now. I can't really put too many words on it right now, but I can tell you I feel magical. I feel glorified.
Man, and you know, just to reiterate, cannabis and weed is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful medicine. It's helping people get through alcoholism, helping people it helped me stay out the streets, because when I was on parole, they didn't test for weed on parole in California because everybody smoked weed. So like it was the one, because I was drinking too. So, but they're testing for alcohol. They're testing for all the other stuff. So for me, weed helped me stay, you know, off the streets, and it helped me to a certain point. But then, like, it's not about the weed, man. I got no problem with that. I had a problem with my abuse of it and my dependency on it, and
exactly.
and trying to be a health coach and teach people how to be healthy, but be dependent on a substance. I don't care what it is. It never felt right after a certain point to need it, you know. And maybe after this long break that I'm taking, I can respect it and come back to it. Maybe be more ceremonial with it and use it for the right reasons in the right places. And I feel like that's a better thing. That's a better, and when you don't smoke all the time, you get more high and it's more fun. So I think that what we're talking about and what we're doing is only healthy, man. And yeah, it's really a personal thing. It's every individual is different on their relationship with smoking, right? You gotta have that conversation with yourself.
Exactly.
Because you know, because some people, they're in that state where it's saving them, you know, it's saving them from other drugs. So, you know, we're not going to call it bad or good, but for me, the dependency, and the abuse and the addiction, man, I'm just glad to be free of it, you know.
And that's why I feel like I got to it. I was abusing it at a point. Like I wouldn't even enjoy my highs, man, because I'm probably like a month in right now, but I kind of got like the call spiritually like in October last year, and it was like, dude, like, yeah, just take a break, man. Just see what you can do. And it was real crazy, bro. This is a real story. I'm looking for beats and whatnot, and I'm high, like when I making music, I'm like, okay, I gotta smoke to go get in my zone and stuff like that. And so I do that, and then I go find a beat, and I just click on this beat, and the song, the first thing that pops up, the guys talk, it's a clip. And he's like, yeah, let's get rid of the fucking weed, the fucking cigarettes, none of that drinking, none of that boy. I was like, bro, what the fuck is this? Like, I was like, oh, let me turn it off.
Hey, that's a synchronicity, man.
Man, come on, man, it's real. And so, like, I kind of denied it at that point. That was like in October, and then, man, just start paying attention more to you, man, seeing you doing it. And I tried it once in December, just seeing you being on that kick, and I fell off. And then, just staying tapped in with you, man. And it was like, nah, dude, like I'm low key, I'm being weak at this point. I'm being in denial. Like, what kind of man, what kind of help can I be to anyone else if I'm here contradicting and being hypocritical with myself? So that's really what pushed me over the edge. I do appreciate everything that I've had with marijuana. It's just that point, the realization that I was like, dude, you faking the funk and you're abusing it. It's not even the same.
Yeah. And you know what? And for anybody watching, man, it took me 5 years for you. The call came in October, man. The call came to me in 2018, man. I was like, yo, I can't be smoking every day. I'm a health coach. And I tried to quit and failed so many times in the last 5 years. And I'll be honest, man, the thing that really helped me now and what's really helped me was being with a partner, my girl, non-judgmental. She never tried to force me to quit. She accepted me no matter how much I was smoking. She never told me I smoked too much or nothing like that. It was just because I'm with someone so supportive, I realized that the weed was getting between us. I was like, damn, I got to leave every 30 minutes to smoke. And then when I get back, I'm coughing for 20 minutes. If you do the math, that's only 10 minutes together every hour or something that I'm actually coherent. I'm either outside smoking or I'm inside coughing. And I started to realize, like, dude, I'm not in a relationship with her. I'm in a relationship with marijuana, Mary Jane. Yeah, I'm in a relationship with Mary Jane, man. And it over time, slowly, very slowly, I kind of just built up the courage and she supported me. That first week was a bitch. Like, I wasn't sleeping. I was going through mood swings, but she held me down like I was sick. Like, she was just there for me. And so, man, that was a big thing. So, support is big. So now I got this support group where we got all kinds of people, quitting all kinds of things, and we got a support group on Zoom and in WhatsApp. And we use microdosing. We use the mushrooms and psychedelics to microdose and to help, and the breath work. I gotta mention. I can't get on here without mentioning the breath work, man.
Yeah, I got two questions for you about that, man. I got those.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man. So, like, to start off with, why organic medicine, man? Because, like I said, I really got introduced to you on IG, and I went to your shop and whatnot, and you're taking a unique approach to the microdosing. You're doing the roll-ups. You're doing really, man, what you're mixing Sheila Jit, you're mixing the lion's mane. Like, yes. How did this come about, man?
Oh man, so yeah, basically I was doing it on my own. Like, I read about microdosing, I read about the benefits, and I was already supplementing with Shilajit. I was doing my research on the herbs because I was turned off by the supplements in fitness. The mainstream supplements give you side effects and all this stuff. So I got turned off to all those. They're basically like processed food, same thing, and I started getting turned on to nature, herbs. And then I started experimenting with microdosing psilocybin, and I was doing it myself for a long time, just doing it before I go to the gym, taking a microdose and taking some Shilajit and then sharing it on Instagram. And then people ask me, hey man, will you sell me some of those? I was like, hell no, I'm not going to sell you some mushrooms, man. I'm on it. I'm just here to talk, man. Mm-hmm. But like, you know, sooner or later, somebody gave me like an offer. They were like, "I'll give you $100 for those capsules right there." I was like, "Hell yeah!" You know, and once I made my first sale, and I realized that, it's not about making money, man. You helping these people, man.
Exactly. Yes, sir. Because it's hard
Once
to
I can,
come by. Yeah.
once I connected to that, man, we was off to the races. And these things all happened in like divine timing, where COVID hit, and then all the gyms closed, so I lost my jobs. So I was up against the wall. I was like, you got to pay the bills. You got this knowledge. You got these resources, and everything got put together. And it just came to me like, I'm gonna just get this Shilajit powder. I'm gonna get this lion's mane powder. I'm gonna put my mushrooms in a weed grinder. And the first time I started, I was making capsules by hand, and so now we're off to the races. If you check it out, I got all kinds of herbs mixed with psilocybin and
Pick up where we left off with
yeah.
With just with the whole psychedelic experience, man. This is called fear chasing. What was your experience on that? Because before I actually got to the point where I tried it, man, it's a lot of horror stories. Everybody's afraid of the bad trips. And did you start off? My question is, did you start off microdosing, or did you just dive right in, man? How did it go for you?
Man, I got a whole 40 minutes for you on this question.
Yeah.
All right, so no, but my first introduction to psychedelics was partying, man, and I'll tell you right now, I started off abusing it. I was mixing it with alcohol, cocaine, MDMA, and so I saw it as a crazy party drug.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through my fair share of terrible experiences and bad trips, the worst. And now I have all of this knowledge that I can interpret it, so I know exactly what went on, man. What people call bad trips are still healing. It's just that you took that mushroom with a certain level of trauma in your psyche, or a certain level of toxins in your body. When you mix the mushrooms with fast food and alcohol, of course you're going to have a bad trip, because what the medicine does is it processes. What the mushrooms do is they process what's in your body. If you filled with love and you pop some mushrooms, it's going to process that, and you're going to have a loving experience. That's why it's important to do what we call inner work or self-love work, a lot of journaling, a lot of meditation, a lot of yoga before you get into the mushrooms. Because the mushrooms, all they do is they expose the environment, man. If you, man, I had somebody come to I'm not going to mention who it is, but we did a retreat and we all did mushrooms, and he withheld information. And the information was that he was fighting a case, right? Like, he didn't tell me until the next day that he was fighting a case. And so he had the worst mushroom trip ever. Like, all these errors.
I can imagine.
He wanted to jump off the balcony, and that's not this is for real. So, and after he told me, I was like, man, you broke rule number 1, man. You can't have something heavy on your heart when you take the mushrooms. And the average person who didn't know, like, first of all, the average person in our country is holding trauma, man. We all have been traumatized, whether it's by the judicial system, school system, medical system, dysfunctional family. We all got trauma. And if you take the mushrooms without an intention of healing, and if you take it without knowing your dosage, then you're going to have a bad trip. But given what I just said, like, even those bad trips have a purpose, because what comes out are your greatest fears. And the reason they're coming out is so you could feel it, and we feel it to heal it. The reason it's getting brought up is because it's inside you. And to feel it and to see it and to hear it is what happens when it's going from inside of you to outside of you. Most people that have bad trips, if they stick with it and keep working with it, they will have to admit that they feel better after.
Yeah.
Because it leaves you. So I did have my fair share of bad trips, and then I researched microdosing, and then I started microdosing, tapping in on working on myself. And then I took some major trips where my intention was to root out fear and trauma, because fear chasing, like, these tools can be used to root out your deepest fears and dispel them and process them out and reflect on them. And you could see how most fear is basically your body telling you what you need to conquer or where you need to go, or what needs to grow, you know. In the same way that I can tell you that pain is a radar. Pain is telling you, your body telling you where it needs attention, or
Yeah.
telling you where it needs to work, or stop abusing. And fear can be the same thing. Like, fear is like a radar. Like, why are you so afraid of that thing? Why are you so afraid of speaking on stage? It might be because that's your soul's mission. You know, like, the fear is a teacher, and you could follow it, and you could see where it guides you to. And so now I have this different outlook on mushrooms, where, like, there's nothing to be afraid of, because it's you. Whatever it exposes you to is what you're harboring. And as long as you follow these two simple rules, man, you'll be fine. And the rule number one: know your dosage. Oh, like, if you're just starting out, you want to know exactly how many grams or milligrams you're taking, because the dosage is what determines everything. And everybody's dosage is different. There's only one way to find your dosage: through trial and error. Like, you got to know how much you took last time, so you can factor that into what you take in next time. And then the number two rule is set your intention, man, because you are both the passenger and the driver. So if you don't set an intention for what you want to get out of it, or where you want to go, then you're just going to end up getting taken off into wherever the external factors, like whoever's around you, or whatever the movie's playing, it's going to pull you in, and you can get pulled in the trauma of the environment. So set your intention, know your dosage. And those rules were given to me by some OGs, you know, who've been tripping since the 60s and 70s, you know?
Right.
So it makes the most sense. And if you do those things, man, you'll be fine, man. It's a beautiful thing, you know?
Absolutely, man. That's what it's really just come down to me, because in the same breath for taking a break from marijuana, it was the same when I first took mushrooms. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's time to turn up and all that kind of stuff like that. And whoa, bro. The first trip, man, I was out of control. I'm not even gonna cap. Just trying to dominate everything and control the whole experience. Like, I know you saying set your intentions, but trying to, like, be the guy that's not even worried about the flow. It's like, no, this is what I want to do. Like, really being rigid, and that's not how it's supposed to go. And when I learned to let go and start to appreciate what I was feeling, I really found comfort. I found peace. I was able to release a lot of the traumas, and I was actually one of the things that I've told my baby moms is don't be scared to don't try to censor yourself so much around our kid, because you're not a bad person. And the more that you try to censor yourself, or you're putting yourself in a mindset that you are wrong, that you're not efficient, you're not enough, you're not actually meaning what you're not meaning well towards her and whatnot. And that's what I took from it, because me trying to run away from what was actually ailing me, it was only hurting me more, because I'm putting myself deeper into denial when I was doing that. And when I turned into a fear chaser, it's like, let's see what's really going on, man. A lot of that stuff just melted away, and it was all gold. That was the end of the rainbow right there. Like, I found the pot of gold on the other side. Just
they got a name for that. They call that the ego death. When you stop trying to control, and you stop trying to be the one, like, this is what we're gonna do, this is how we're gonna do it. When you just let go and submit to how you feel, and let that be, let you, how you feel, be the guy, that's also connecting to your divine feminine, you know, the inner aspect of yourself. And that's a big part of what these do for you. Now, this is a good, like, way to segue into the breath work, because I consider the psychedelics a bridge to the breath, because even if you haven't even ever paid attention to it, the mushrooms change your breathing, and they start to get you to slow down and connect with your breathing patterns. So without even intentionally doing breath work, taking mushrooms gets your body to start doing breathing patterns and connecting with the breath. And here's the thing, like when you start doing the breath work enough, as some of these people in our circle, we got people that are breatharians in our circles. Like there's people that just get high off the breath. You know, they get to that psychedelic state just through breathing and fasting. And when you can get to that point, the mushrooms don't even do it for you no more. The mushrooms are like, man, I just got to detox these. I got to wait till it's gone. Because when you get there with the breath, you're fully in control and you're fully coherent. And so something that I teach and we do in our groups is we do breath work every day, regardless of if it's a microdose day or it's a mushroom day or not. We're doing the breath work, you know, because that's really the baseline of your consciousness and of your emotions. And the mushrooms just connect you with that deeply enough to where now when you're not on the mushrooms, you're still connected with that breath. So we say breath work is the baseline, man.
Okay, so when you speak about breath work, man, you can go online and just find a lot of different ones. I was first enthused by Wim Hof, and then I came across the Pranayama, and then like a year and a half ago, man, on Black Magic 363, I seen the Black Airbender, man, and the alchemy breath work, the fire breathing and whatnot. Though it was Wim Hof. I'm not even going to discredit him. The rounds, he has one of those meditations where like he gives you the rounds and stuff like that, and all the kind of stuff like that. He holds them, and it was challenging, but it didn't feel as impactful as when I started doing just following Devin, the alchemy breath work, or even the pranayama is one, just a simple one, man. I just do the alternate nostril breathing. It's deeper, is essentially what I'm saying, than just what Wim Hof taught. And still in that bag, even when I was in that bag, man, just focusing, just making attention to clean up my breath and charge up my breath, man, has really changed my state, improve my emotional state, and just help me be more present and be more effective with my actions and thinking and doing. So, excuse me. What is it?
But let me just say, when it comes to like the different techniques, you know, talking about it is like talking about the difference in exercises, right? It's like, what's the best exercise, jogging or lifting weight? It's like, well, what's your goal? Because the truth is, in the same way that you can't really say this exercise is the best, because there's a million things the human body would want to do, and there's a million things that a person would want to do. Does a person want to climb a mountain or lift a 500-pound weight? Like, so instead of trying to just find the best one, which is how it is when you first get into it, you learn that there's different techniques for different goals, and it's better to learn all of them, man. I don't discriminate, man. I want to learn all of them and learn why you do each one. And this is what we've learned about like the difference between the Wim Hof and the alchemy breathwork, is that essentially what Wim Hof, and the reason why he's so popular is because his techniques allow you to do things like go in ice water and climb a mountain naked. But then what is it about your system that's allowing you to do that? The mouth breathing fast, that does is it activates the sympathetic nervous system. And what that is that's your fight or flight state. So you have to stress your body out to get it to where it can withstand some ice. You know, and that's cool technique, and that's better than the average person, because the average person is breathing with their mouth and not taking full diaphragmatic breaths. So anything is going to make them healthier. But is it sustainable for the long haul? I would argue that no, like while that technique is good for getting you out to the elements and getting you started, it's not something you could do all day, every day for hours at a time, right? Because getting yourself in fight or flight, people have gotten into seizures doing it too much. Whereas the alchemy breathwork and the pranayama, it's nasal breathing. Now, nasal breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest, or the rest and relax nervous system state. Now, that is how we breathe when we sleep. So it's obviously sustainable to do for hours. When you sleep, if your system is clean, your mouth is closed, you're breathing through your nose all night. And that's actually sustainable in the long term. It's something that you can do all day, every day. And so it's also conducive to healing. Nasal breathing activates nitric oxide. We produce nitric oxide in our nose, and it allows you to absorb oxygen into your cells. When you breathe through your mouth, you're just oxygenating your blood, but that oxygen is not going into your cells. All right. So we need the nitric oxide. And when you slow it down, it allows the carbon dioxide, which is also, carbon dioxide is just as important as oxygen. So the inhale brings in the oxygen, but the exhale is what travels carbon dioxide through the body. So if you just exhale fast, then the carbon dioxide just leaves the body. And what actually needs to happen is the cells need to get engulfed with carbon dioxide before they'll let oxygen into the cell. So when all you do is breathe in and out, and you're not letting the carbon dioxide travel through the system, the oxygen isn't going through your cells. That's why your heart's still beating hella fast, right? When you breathe just through your nose and you slow it down slower and slower, you need less and less and less and less, to where you could take 1 breath per minute and you're just chilling. And so that's like in a nutshell what the difference is. And you know, for me, it's more important to know all the techniques, man. And I would want to, that's why when we practice breath work, we have like a different one every time, because there's some techniques that are for waking you up and getting you up in the morning. And then there's techniques that are better for going to sleep and falling asleep. And there's techniques that can help bring the mushroom high down, and there's techniques that can bring the mushroom high up. And it's like, in the same, I'm passionate about that in the same way that I'm passionate about exercise, where it's like, man, I want to be able to have good cardio. I want to have good flexibility, and I want to be really strong, and I want to look good. I want all of those things. I'm just not going to put all my eggs in one basket, you know? So same thing pertains to the breath work, man.
All right, so look, man, I'm glad for everyone that's still here, tuned in, because we've given you a lot of information on just the holistic health side. So the title of the show is going to be called "The Holistic Health Warrior is Wealthy." So yes, you can be under a bridge and do some breath work. You can be a breatharian. You never have to buy a meal again, and yet everyone is not to that state or that point to that point in their life where they're able to just let go of living in their home or having a car or anything like that.
Yeah.
So how do these tools help you when it comes to business?
Well, you know, what I like to say is, and what Devon has taught me, because at first when I started, you know, learning that stuff, I thought I had to shed all my desires and stop eating all of these food. And it's really not about that, especially at the state that we're at with humanity. It's more about integrating it into your life as you currently are. So whatever habits you have, the breath work can be integrated into that. The supplements, the microdosing can be integrated into what you're currently doing. And so how this can help with business, because I myself have, like, I got a crash course in business when all this stuff took off. And what it really has to do with is the fact that your business is a reflection of you, of your relationship with yourself. Even the money, the cash flow that you allow to have around you is directly reflecting your relationship with yourself. So the more clear you can get in your mind and in your body, the more clear you can get about what you want. And so to the specificity that you can get clear on what you want, what you desire, that's going to be how fast you manifest it, or how fast you work to get to it. So I believe that cleaning out your body, purifying your mind, has everything to do with really getting clear on what you want with business. And that's kind of what separates people that are achieving massive success with business and people that aren't. Is the people that are achieving massive success have a clear-cut notion of what they're doing, exactly what they're trying to do. And even when it comes down to like a business plan, the more specific you can get about who's doing what and how you're doing everything, the easily it will flow in, you know, it'll flow to yourself. So Yeah, it comes down to communication. You know, when you are clear with yourself about what you want, it's going to be easier to do the work you need to do, talk to the people you need to talk to, communicate with the people you got to communicate with, and then also the relationship you have with others. Ain't nobody successful in business that doesn't have a team, that doesn't have relationships with, like, my suppliers, man. I rely on them. It's all love between my suppliers. I got people that help me with the shipping, and all of that is kind of a result from me coming to a loving relationship with myself. So I mean, going beyond just like having a business plan and getting investors and all that, it really comes down to relationships.
Right.
Your relationships with everybody else is based on how your relationship is with yourself. So I think that health, for me, I mean, I'm a health coach, but health is the first step. You could achieve all of this without focusing on your health, but that's not going to last, man. It's not going to be sustainable. So I think that when we're talking about health, we're talking about your relationship with yourself. And I think that when we're talking about business, we're talking about your relationship with other people. So now you kind of see how it goes in order: your relationship with yourself first, and then now you can relate to other people. And for me, the success of my business has been based on my ability to communicate with my people. You even said in the beginning of this interview that I go live every day. That is the foundation. That is the meat and potatoes of my business, is going online every day and connecting with people and sharing my heart and sharing my struggles. I think the main thing that separates me from all these other holistic businesses, because there's a lot of people trying to sell herbs, right? But not everybody, very little, are sharing their truth, are sharing the ugly stuff, sharing the hard stuff, sharing the fears. Ain't nobody want to talk about what they're afraid of. But when you do that, you stand out and you really help people. And I guess we can swing that back around to business, in that the right businesses are trying to help people. It doesn't matter what business we're talking about. The businesses help people with a problem, right? And so for me, focusing on helping people through, really, this is the core of my business, is I help people by helping myself. I go live and I talk about trying to eat. I go live and talk about how hard it is to stay focused when you got all this stuff going on. And that is keeping my business like afloat.
Yeah, these are true problems that people are having right now.
Yeah. Like when I talk about my struggles, man, the amount of people that come back saying they're struggling with the same thing is crazy. And it makes me realize that we're all struggling with the same things, but not everybody's talking about it, So to have the courage to talk about it, basically, for us having the courage to talk about our fears and our struggles, we basically deserve what we get. We deserve being able to travel and being able to help others on a mass scale, because we have the courage to speak out about it, when everybody's being quiet, or worse, everybody's acting like it's all good. That's what people are doing on social media. Is just they're all putting up an act that everything is all good. That's the pressure to make it seem like it's all good, and that's almost a norm. So I get up here and I talk about my struggles, and after 5 years of doing that, it's something that I know, man, to go back to business, it gets me ahead of the competition, if we're even competing.
Yeah, man, that's why I've noticed that the people that I'm essentially tapped into, they have a level of transparency that is trumping a lot of these people that are doing the things, neglecting the fact that we are humans, that even though we can do something that's astronomical, just have these high arching achievements, at the end of the day, you still gotta they say you still gotta put your pants on one leg at a time. You still gotta brush your teeth, you gotta take a piss, you still gotta fluctuate and all that kind of stuff like that. So if you're maneuvering around these truths, it's kind of hard for someone to relate to you. And the people that are actually winning are the ones that are being an open book, man, as much as they can be. And this is what holds people in, man. Like one of my favorite artists, Kevin Gates. Dude,
Hey, he's real, man.
Man, too real for TV, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, he's never gonna be mainstream like that, the way that all these other people are. He's always underground. He's always right under the surface. But when I see his videos and hear him talk, it's so like truthful, man. It's so to the point, like so yeah, man. And and to watch him get on that health tip, watch him get
Yeah,
on that
it's a beautiful thing,
transformation.
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
actually see that's one of the examples that you have. He's not saying, "Oh man, I've been on creatine and all of these kind of things." He's championing real holistic or organic elements to his
Yeah.
success in transforming himself. Because he was a big dude, he was chubby, he was on drugs heavy and whatnot like that, and getting in a lot of trouble, crashing out. Like you seen it. If you want a reference point, you can look at that man and see the activity of him being on some process full type of activity, and to this
Mhm.
point where he's actually being in the organic. He's talking about going outside doing yoga. He speaks on mackerel. I just watched the interview the other day. He was speaking on lion's mane and quadriceps and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
man, it's really true. Another one is Kendrick Lamar. Just the transparency that he's always had. It's been very beneficial in my growth and development. So yeah, man, that is one that is really why we're having this interview, man, because you are open, dude. Is excuse me for being long-winded on this one. One of the things that I see about drugs is the people that like the so-called crackheads and whatnot. I believe that these people wouldn't be as down bad as they were or as they are if there wasn't such a negative stigma placed on people that are doing these type of drugs. If people were just seeing them as someone that is experimenting versus just the scum of society, a lot of these
Mhm.
people wouldn't be running to drugs as much as they are and stuff like that. Because I feel like that the fact that people are looking down on them because they're doing whatever they're doing, that kind of reinforces them to want to do it more, to kind of want to prove them wrong and stuff like that. That was one of my battles with smoking. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
maybe you see that I'm you can say that I'm smoking too much, but fuck what you saying, because you don't know me, you don't know my life and all that kind of stuff like that. You don't know what this does for me and stuff like that. So it was me trying to really show. A lot of that was me trying to like prove them wrong and stuff like that, to the point where it's like, nah, man, look, let me take accountability for myself and address what is the cause and effects of what my actions are doing. So yeah.
Mhm. I got to that point where I had something to prove. Like deep down, I wanted to prove to myself that I could get to a level of success while smoking weed every day. That was the thing, because I did get to that point with personal training. I became a pretty well-to-do personal trainer. I had keys to like 3 different gyms, people who hired me, and I felt really good about the fact that I got all the way there smoking weed every day, right? And it
Mm.
became like a point of pride that I was like, man, I could get high, I could stay high and do all that. And then we even got to this point where my Instagram blew up, and I was helping all these people and making all this money, and I'm still high every day. And but then once I got to that point, it was like, what's the point? Like, what's the point of
Mm-hmm.
like, what the hell? Like, I'm high every day. What's the point? Like I had to get to this point where I had to find a higher reason to want to stop. Because yeah, you could get all the way there. You could go be a millionaire and just be high all day. And like I said in the beginning, I had to come up to a higher reason to want to stop. And I started to feel that like I could, like, I found this partner that now I believe that she deserves the best me. Like she deserves the highest version of me. And I'm not being that when I'm high all the time. I'm not being the highest
Mm.
performing version. I'm not being the clearest version of me. And that was ultimately the thing that made me feel like stopping. Was like, I'm probably with the person I'm going to be with for forever now, and they deserve just the best me. And the truth is, I deserve the highest me and
Yeah,
the most
exactly.
clearest
Absolutely.
version of me. So going back to the whole relationship with yourself is like, what do you deserve? What kind of relationship with yourself do you deserve? And it didn't feel good to always be reaching for my vaporizer or reaching for my bong and always like feeling like basically feeling neurotic. Like, you know, when you run out of weed, that feeling that you need to get more. It doesn't matter if it's weed or it's crystal meth after a certain point, because I've been addicted to crystal meth. That's actually what I was doing before I went to prison, was I was selling crystal meth and addicted to that. And it felt like not physically, but mentally, it felt the same way, where you feel like you gotta have it. You'll do whatever it takes to get it. And yeah, man, that just didn't feel, it felt like I could do better, man. Like you said earlier, it felt weak, man, at least weak minded, you know?
Yeah, I would say like, man, shrooms, just the psychedelic experience, because there's I heard A. Rashid say this, man. Anyone that's scared to take a psychedelics is afraid of themselves. And man, I'm under the notion that we come here with a purpose before we even come in physical form. So when you get in these higher realms of thinking through psychedelics, that's what it does to you. That's it just shows you your true self. And once you're tapped into your true self, it's hard. It was hard for me to run away from it, because you heard it, man. You heard yourself have this thought. Like, all thoughts are manifested for a reason. They're not just fleeting thoughts, and some of them may not be your thoughts. And yet, once you acknowledge that you are aware of those, it's your responsibility to do what you will with that. And what I kept coming across is like, man, I'm in a flow state, because this is really why I got into drugs, or even the meditations or working out, is just to increase my flow state, to get more done, and just have that state of serenity doing whatever I'm doing. Because if you're not in that state, it kind of becomes difficult. And so on my experiences, it was showing me that, like, hey man, like, you really kicking ass while not running to this and to that all the time. Like, you can sit here. I had one trip, man. I sat there and listened to Stevie Wonder all day for hours, bro. I didn't even know I was I lost track of time, and I was just sitting there just owning it, just chilling, bro. And I'm like, and it caught me like probably like 7 hours later. I was like, bro, you didn't move, bro, and you were perfectly okay with that. So so how much is external factors actually needed by you? You know what I'm saying? So that's what it came. Like I said, I couldn't even enjoy my highs anymore, like smoking and stuff like that. I'm not. Forgive me to anyone that thinks that I'm speaking down on this. I'm talking about my personal experience, and
Yeah.
and my personal experience. It just seemed
Because there's
that,
people high right now listening to us, you know, there's people
man, bro, because
now
like I can see myself like, man, fuck what they talking about. I don't want to hear, like, man, like, yeah, bro. I'm telling you, I love weed, and I still do today. I'm talking about I love myself more though, man. I love that peace and that knowing of uh what I'm capable of, man, because I really do challenge myself to be the best version of myself. And
Yeah.
and man, I've seen myself really get things done, like really rock it, without a lot of contributions from like whatever. Like, man, I don't have to, like, I don't even watch porn anymore. Like, get ready to start closing this out, man, because you know it's turning to typical difficulty time and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All good.
So man, just what I was saying, just to harp on what I was saying, man, with the point of, yes, I do love weed, yet I love just to see exactly what I'm capable of, man, when it comes to being without a crutch, actually going all the way within and tapping into that power that is infinite in all of us. So that's what I'm exploring. That's what my journey has turned into, just exploring that. And man, I challenge anyone, man. See, you have to consider those people that might think that we're just tripping. But if it is a question for you that am I smoking too much or anything like that, I would encourage you just to take a journey and see what you can do without it. You never know what you can get from that.
And I know what it sounds like to hear it, man. Like when I've been smoking, and when even thinking about quitting was like something you don't even want to entertain that, you know. And if that's you, if you're in that state, man, just try to take a long break in between, like smoke it once in the morning and try to not smoke the whole day until at nighttime. And you start with these baby steps, and you'll be surprised where you end up, man, when you just start doing that.
Yeah. Hey, look, man, I got y'all right here, man, because we talking a lot about smoking and all that kind of stuff like that. It's other things that people can be addicted to, and that's food.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, can you speak on just going maybe on a fruit fast or switching up your diet, and what did that do for you? Because what really started, people ask me, am I a vegan or these type of things? I don't do that. I've had vegan meals, and yet what I would consider myself as a conscious or a functional eater.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
man.
I like to put things in my body that are actually going to serve a purpose and not just taste good.
Yeah, man, let's get away from all the labels. You don't got to be a vegan or fruitarian to get the benefits of a fruit cleanse. Everybody needs at least a 3-day fruit cleanse, where essentially what you're doing is you're giving your body a rest from digestion. It's not like let go of like the emotional attachment to, you know, animals, plants, vegan, non-vegan, carnivore. The point is that digesting complicated, complex foods is robbing your body of energy if you're doing it all the time. So I get that there's a need to get some of these minerals and some of the fats that are in all these other foods, but the idea of just giving your body a break from the complex stuff, because fruit is real simple. It's sugar and water. The sugar in fruit, though, is attached to vitamins and minerals. But the fact that fruit has so much water in it allows it to digest itself. Essentially, to put it simply, fruit slides through your system without having to get pumped through and processed and all that stuff. And all these other foods that we eat, our body has to move it through. And a lot of times, your body has to create its own enzymes to digest the foods, whereas fruit comes with enzymes, it comes with water, and so the cost is a lot less, meaning your body has enough energy to direct towards healing things that need to be healed. For the average person that eats from breakfast, lunch to dinner, you know, you starting off with bacon and eggs, you eat a sandwich for lunch, and then you got a steak and wine dinner. The body never has time to heal all the organs and all the ailments because it's busy processing all that stuff. So what I was saying was, it don't matter what label, you can get away from all the labels of like vegan and carnivore and all that. And just the truth is, anybody can benefit from a fruit cleanse because it's just simpler to digest. And digestion, it robs the body of energy. If you eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you eating super complex meals, the body never has extra energy to go towards healing your liver or healing your pancreas if you got diabetes, or healing your joints if you have arthritis. If you just take a 3-day fruit cleanse, where just for 3 days you're on juices, smoothies, and fruits, and you don't even have to limit that. You can eat as much fruit as you want. You can eat as much as you can. The point is that you're giving the body a break from digesting all this other complex stuff. So this is why people are getting a lot of healing benefits from these fruit cleanses. Now, there's a downside to this, and that's that what this ultimately does is it starts a healing crisis. People call it a healing crisis, or what we can call it is detox symptoms. Our society has been taught to look at detox symptoms as disease and as ailments. You call it the flu, you call it the cold, you call it pneumonia. What the body's actually doing is it's expelling toxins.
Exactly.
The toxins expel through mucus, through your nose, and through mucus through phlegm that you're coughing up. And medical system just calls that a disease, when in reality, if you just let that process play out and you don't eat more food that adds to it, but maybe you just stick to fruits and juices that will let the mucus leave the body, you'll find that you feel better after that healing crisis, or what you would call the flu or the cold. So our whole society has it backwards, where when you get a cold or when you get a flu, they tell you got to eat some chicken soup and you got to take all this medicine to suppress it and make the symptoms go away. But the truth is, man, the symptoms are the healing. You know, when you feel sick, when you have a rash on your skin, that's the toxins leaving the body. And so a fruit cleanse or fruit, going juicing, doing juicing, these things are conducive for that healing. When we talk about the mucus leaving the body and the toxins leaving the body, fruit helps because fruit is astringent. It basically scrubs the body of hardened mucus and all these toxins. And so without even having to go vegan or go plant-based or whatever, if you just take 3 days on some juice and fruits and then go back to whatever you want to eat, what's actually going to happen is when your body is cleaner, you're not even going to want to eat all that junk, because you're going to realize that you feel better when your body is more clear. But until you clear the body, you can't see that. That's why people that don't ever eat no fruit and don't ever go on any fast, they don't want to, because they never felt what it feels like to be clear. Once you feel it, then you'd be like, okay, maybe I'll do this once a month, you know, which I think is healthy for anybody. You don't got to change your diet, but if you just do a juice cleanse once a month, your health is going to be going like this, you know, every month. So yeah, man, that's it in a nutshell, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, the craze right now is the artificial intelligence. What is that gonna do? What is that looking like right now? And if you're really paying attention, man, the ultimate intelligence that we have on Earth right now is the human body, because it like you say, it knows what it needs. It knows how to process. You don't tell it to create a scab if you get cut or anything like that. You don't tell it to even go into, you can, if you know what I'm saying, the whole placebo effect, and yet naturally it seeks out ailments and it gets to work on them. Just like like with headaches, you don't have to take aspirin or anything like that. I can't even tell you the last time I took an aspirin or ibuprofen or anything like that. Just catching a headache, I would at the most just kind of just ask myself what's going on internally, like why am I having a headache, and then it'll kind of just weed itself out. You know what I'm saying? You gotta people have to stop running away from pain, man. It's essentially what I'm saying, because that's why I really want a lot of people to get from this, because you tap into that health that you have holistically, you will create that wealth that you're looking for in relationships, in your business, and just your time alone, man. You'll be at peace with yourself better just being by yourself. You won't have these thoughts or these nagging thoughts, or oh man, I ain't got no coffee, or I don't have my cigarettes, or I gotta watch some porn, or I gotta have some music playing and stuff like that. You don't need a lot of these things that we've been taught to hold on to, because once you die, man, are you gonna be able to hold on to these things? That's a serious question that you have to ask yourself. And man, you'll feel a whole lot better just addressing the truths of nature. And yeah, I encourage a lot of people just to tap in, man.
That's real, man. To get connected with yourself, and connected with nature is connecting with yourself, man. Connecting with yourself is connecting with nature. You are a part of nature. So if I'm gonna leave with y'all with something, I'm gonna leave y'all with that idea that, you know, the same way that a tree exists in nature, you exist in nature. So you are a part of nature. So there's no reason to fear nature. There's no reason to fear the sun. There's no reason to fear the earth, the dirt. You know, it's actually those connecting with those things, the fresh air, connecting with those things is actually the foundation for our health. So, you know, when we talk about like hippies going to hug a tree, like there is some truth to actually connecting to nature. There's some truth to connecting to the soil. Scientifically, they're just starting to catch up with what happens with us electrically when we connect to the dirt. it's important for our, even down to our blood flow, you know, what happens to inflammation in the body when you connect your feet to the grass. So, I mean, so when we talk about connecting with yourself, man, connecting with nature is one of the ways that you could tune into that. You know, go meditate, sit out in the grass. You'd be surprised what happens when you just start doing that consistently, and what it does to what you do desire. Like after you start connecting with yourself a little more, you can be like, wow, I actually do want some just juice, some fresh fruit. Like I want to give my body something that clears it up. I don't want to just numb it with another burrito, you know? So yeah, man, I would say that like connecting with nature is kind of like the easy way to start your health journey.
Yeah. So man, before we get out of here, how can they get in tune with you, man? Because you really do be going hard on your lives. You talk about the sun gaze and getting grounded, and a lot of things just pertain to health wise and the microdosing. So how could they get in touch with you?
You know, I do have a website that leads to my link tree. My link tree is where all my links are that you could get all my affiliate links. You can tap in with my private support group. And it's easy. It's basedintheplants.com. So if you go to basedintheplants.com, just one word, based in the plants, that'll lead you to all my social links. Instagram, same name, based in the plants. That's really where I'm at. But I have like, the thing is, my page gets banned so often that I got like 12 Instagram pages. So if you go to my page, Based in the Plants, you'll get directed to all of my other pages and where the action is happening. And yeah, from that link, basedintheplants.com, you could find all my menus to access all of my products. You can get with me on a consultation to talk about which products would help. I mean, the main product that I disperse for free is breathwork exercises, and I do that on my YouTube and I do that on Instagram almost every day. So yeah, those are the best ways to contact me and to tap in for a session, or to just see what we're all about. Basedintheplants.com. Yeah, it'll connect you to everything you need to know.
All right. And one last thing. Hey, have you seen this book right here, Ancient Future?
Nah, who's that by?
It's by Wayne Chandler, man. He's going in on
Okay.
the hermetic principles. He breaks them down, man.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he goes in on them, man.
Okay.
So this is
And what was the Wesley Snipes movie you mentioned? I'm about to watch that tonight.
Undisputed, man. Undisputed.
Ancient Future by Chandler. Okay. And then Undisputed. I'm gonna like that one.
Yeah, man. And so, man, I like to say thank y'all for tuning in, man. And Jeezy, I really do appreciate you for your time, man, and letting this information, dude. You are a field chaser, man. You really broke down why you should be a field chaser, and you've been embodying the epitome of that. So I'm gonna crown you and salute you for your journey, man. And I wish you well on yours and continued success, dude. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me, man. We'll talk soon, man.
All right, y'all enjoy yourselves, man. Peace.
Peace, man.